So it says here that Barman's bookkeeper has found maintaining the financial records by double entry, which is what currently happens, is very time consuming, and argues that the size of the business does not justify the effort. She thinks that a single entry system would be more efficient and save the business money. Well, we don't really study single entry systems, not really a thing in our syllabus, but we are kind of expected to understand what this question was asking. Single entry system would be where we perhaps just kept a cash book or a spreadsheet, so showing the receipts and the payments. So would it be easier? I guess it would be quicker, but we've got to assess whether Barman should accept the bookkeeper's proposal. So what is the bookkeeper's proposal? It's whether we should have single entry or not. Okay, so if we're asked to assess something, we do need to give our opinion, and there's no right or wrong answer. Yes, we should accept the bookkeeper's proposal. No, we shouldn't accept it. But we need to be able to justify that. So we can't just write yes or no and expect to get any marks. We need to assess both of these things. So I would say the best way to do this is arguments for and then arguments against. Okay, so kind of lay your answer out like this, and then decision, so yes or no, and why. Okay, so arguments for accepting, so arguments for the single entry system would be that yes, it might save time, and if it saves time, it might save money. But for every point that we kind of argue for, we probably need to get some balance here and argue something against. So yes, we could say it will save time and therefore it should save money. The bookkeeper's fee should be lower. But an argument against that is that there'll be lots of information missing at the end of the year. So the accountancy fees are likely to be somewhat higher because the accountant is going to have to make up for the shortfall. So another argument for might be, it says that the size of the business. So let's think about the size of the business. Is it quite small? We worked out that trade receivables were 31,850. There's not masses in the way of a non-current asset. So it is a fairly small business. So we could say that. But then an argument against could be something along the lines of, mistakes might occur if we don't do double entry. There's no checks, no verification taking place, no trial balance, potentially no bank reconciliations, no receivables control account, sales ledger control account happening. So the chances of errors and omissions creeping in is much, much greater. So, more chance of errors, omissions, figures not being accurate at the end of the year. So I think overall, the decision has got to be, I would suggest that, keep on with the double entry bookkeeping. But as I said, you can put whichever one you want, argue whichever way you like, as long as it's justified. So the answers that they've got here, let's just go through those quickly. So it's easier to maintain the single entry system, less work for the bookkeeper, therefore she'll be under less pressure. I don't know if it suggested that she was under too much pressure in the question. I'm not sure where that's come from, but there we go. Less training required to maintain the records for any new members of staff. Wages of account staff could be lower, less expertise is required. It's much quicker to record the transactions. Many small businesses do not use double entry. Barman's a sole trader with 31,850 of trade receivables, so it does appear to be a relatively small business. It's a service business, so detailed inventory records are not required, so that could reduce the need for a double entry system. And then against the use of a single entry system, as we said, there's a much greater likelihood of making mistakes which are not identified. It's okay to make mistakes, but the idea of double entry is that you've got these verification methods such as the trial balance, the control accounts, the bank reconciliation, that kind of thing, that are designed to pick up mistakes and omissions. Payables and receivables may be overlooked. Well, she probably hasn't got any payables, to be fair, if there's no inventory. She's a service business, but trade receivables, might be overlooked there. So we might end up not chasing them for money if we're not doing control accounts and such like. It's going to take longer to prepare financial statements, so that's going to increase the cost that the accountant charges. It's more expensive because of the extra time taken by the accountant, but also more experienced staff are going to be required to prepare the accounts than they might be otherwise. We cannot easily verify the accuracy of the financial records, back to the verification. And if the reason the bookkeeper is finding the work time-consuming is due to the data corruption, it did mention something about data corruption here, which is why we were having to sort of almost do like incomplete records calculations. But if that's the reason, then switching systems is not actually going to improve this. So if we've got data corruption on the system, either the spreadsheet is not working or the computer software and the accounting software is not working, then switching systems probably isn't going to help that situation. And then barman should decide to accept or decline the proposal. So yes, go for single entry, or no, stick to what she's doing and carry on with the double entry on the business's needs rather than the time taken to complete the accounts. That's a really good point. So it shouldn't just be about the bookkeeper's time. If necessary, if this bookkeeper can't cope, let's find another bookkeeper. But it should be about the most suitable method for the business. And if double entry is working well at the moment, if it ain't broke, don't worry about fixing it. Anyway, hopefully that's given you some ideas as to how to answer that and get up this mark scheme. So again, we've got AO2, 2 marks there, but AO3, so the analysis and the evaluation, linking it back to the question and bringing in your wider knowledge is what's going to get you the AO3 marks. Thanks very much for watching.